What's going on, folks? So today I'm out on the range and I want to talk to you about police trade-in handguns. So this is separate from military surplus, although some of the same positives, negatives apply and stuff like that. But I specifically want to talk about police trade-in handguns. So for folks that don't know out there what that is, basically, let me give you a brief overview. A lot of police departments, sheriff's offices, law enforcement will buy a large batch of guns. You'll have a contract with a specific company. And when they are through with those guns, they sell them to distributors. Some of the big names, I won't name any of them here. And for YouTube manual reviewer, if you're watching this because you demonetized my video because the algorithm thinks I'm selling guns, I am not selling guns. I am not going to name any distributors. If I do mention a price, it's what I personally paid for it, not what I'm selling it for, not what I think other companies are selling it for. There's no sale of any firearms going on in this video, okay? We got that cleared up. But they will sell, when the departments are done with their guns, they will sell them to big distributors, and then those distributors will put them out in the market for civilians to buy. And now there's a bunch of different reasons. You know, if there's cops in the or law enforcement officers in the comments that have actually dealt with this, if you were the guy that bought guns or you know how it works, and I get these details wrong, let me know in the comments down below. But they can get different guns for a bunch of different reasons. Either they're old and wore out. That's usually not the case in my experience. Usually police trade-in guns are pretty good at, you know, a lot of them will have cosmetic wear or holster wear, but internally and mechanically, they're really not shot a lot. And we'll get into some of that. But they'll either, maybe they might get a new chief, maybe they might not be happy with the guns they currently have. Maybe they might get another different gun company coming to them and saying, hey, we will give you a killer deal if you use our guns. Maybe if they're having, maybe they got guns that are possibly going off unintended and they want to go with a different company. So they will, I guess, surplus them, but they will trade those guns in and sell them to the distributors to help defray some of the cost of the new guns. And you could pick up a variety of stuff from revolvers to police trade-in Glocks and M&Ps and all kinds of stuff. And I got 5 examples here, just a few of the examples from my personal collection that I'm going to show you different varying degrees of condition, of style, of safeties, non-safeties, all kinds of stuff, different variations on price. A lot of times that's dependent, the price is dependent on a bunch of different things. Are the guns desirable? Are they the condition, the rarity, how old they are, you know, all kinds of different stuff. So I'm just going to give you a couple examples. And again, manual reviewer, if I give a price, it's what I personally paid for it at a specific time from a specific dealer. I'm not saying these are the prices you can get. And again, I'm not selling any of these guns or any firearms. So let's get into it first. I will start off, you know, I'll start off with the wild card out of the 5 here. And we'll just go with the Smith & Wesson Model 10. Now, when I purchased this, it was my understanding it was a law enforcement trade-in, and as you can see, hopefully, there you go. Camera's picking it up. There's a lot of wear, holster wear on the end of the barrel, a lot of holster wear on the end of the cylinder, on right here. So you're gonna get holster wear. Some of the guns will be marked. You know, I did a full review on this. I've had people comment on it. This one's marked CDC. I don't know if that's Centers for Disease Control. Somebody said it's California Department of Corrections, but I think California Department of Corrections is CDOC. But maybe not. So you might have a agency's initials, their emblem, all kinds of stuff like that on there. This one looks like it had some type of rack numbers or identifying numbers that they electro penciled out before they surplus them and traded them in. You know, you get the wear on that. This did come with, you get to wear in here. Now, this did come with those rubber Pachmeyer grips, which are very comfortable, but I hate the way they look. You know, and for me, sometimes it's a balance between how the gun looks and how it feels. Those Pachmeyers feel much better. They feel your hand better. They control I mean, they help mitigate recoil, which there's not a lot in 38 Special, but I think these just look way better and more classic. So let's shoot this one. This is some example, a lot of wear on the trigger guard. You will see, typically, you will see more cosmetic wear than you will mechanically. Mechanically, it's been my experience that police trade-in firearms are fantastic. And this goes for, you know, keep an eye out at some of these distributors. You can find them online. They'll get in police trade-in shotguns. Back in the day, they got in the police trade-in from the prisons, Mini 14s, the GBs. You will get AR-15s. You will get Colt AR-15 trade-ins at pretty darn good prices, police trade-ins. Again, a lot of finish wear typically, but mechanically, they don't have a lot of rounds through them. So let's just shoot this one real quick. Let me get my ears and put my ears on. Load this sucker up and just shoot at some steel here. Shoot a couple rounds. All right. So as you can see, shoots fine. So there's an example for a revolver. I don't remember what I paid for it. I honestly think it was years ago when I picked it up. I think it was in the mid-2s somewhere. And I don't remember who I got it from. But that's an example. Those are still out there, the Model 64s, which are the stainless ones. I think it's 64s. Yeah, the stainless ones, they're out there currently. So there's a rough representation of what you can get in a police trade-in 38 Special, Smith & Wesson Model 10-10 38 Special revolver. Let's do this one. So this is a Walther P38 with the aluminum frame. I know somebody's going to say P1. This is actually technically a P38. It says P38 right there. There was I did research on this, and there was a transition period before they were marking them P1, not 3-1, excuse me. Before they were actually designated P1s, that they were still aluminum frame P38s, and that's what this is. When purchased, these are not military trade-ins. My understanding, these were police trade-ins from Germany. Let me get some 9mm over here and load this magazine while I'm talking to you. So it's my understanding that these were police trade-ins from Germany. And they came, I want to say I bought that, I don't know, 23, a couple years ago. And these are still, hovering around, I think these are still hovering around 5.5 where you can find them. Now, sometimes you'll get batches of these coming into the country, and then it'll be another decade sometimes before you get another batch in, before these old police armories overseas trade these in. Similar with military surplus firearms. So yeah, and again, finish, you can see a lot of finish wear on it. Mechanically, it's pretty sound. The grips in the back are cracked right there. They were cracked right here, and I fixed them. You can get replacement grips. I'm just saying, be aware of what you were buying. This one was made April of 1960. So this is an old gun. But these don't hit the market a lot, so they command a little bit more than, your standard Glock or M&P that are just prevalent in this country. So let's just shoot this one, see how it shoots. Now, again, you got to give these a little bit of grace, especially these older ones. They can be picky sometimes on ammo, and some of them can have a hard life. So as you can see, functions, fires. And again, if you want an older type, a police trade-in, that's an option. This also might have a little bit of collectability in a few years, where some of the polymer ones that are so common don't. So there's an example of a real old police trade-in gun that you could pick up. It's probably the most expensive of the ones I got in the group right now. Let's mix it up a bit. Let's do the Smith & Wesson M&P. This one is a police trade-in from, oh my gosh, Gwinnett? No, I don't remember. There's their logo. It's the GCSO, Glendale, Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office or something. I zoomed in at one time. I forget what it is. But again, here's an example of where they will get their guns. They will put their badge or their department's logo on there. They might put the, whatever that is on there. They'll put their initials on there. That's what I was trying to, they'll put their initials on there. But as you can see, this is a M&P 45, okay? And it is in beautiful condition. Now, sometimes you will get, on the trade-in market, you will get guns that are new in box, because they will buy extra guns in case they're damaged, lost, broken, and they got to fix them. They'll issue them another gun while they're fixing yours. So sometimes you'll get ones that are practically unfired, new in the box. You'll also get ones that are in great condition. This one is in fantastic condition. And I want to say I paid right about $3 for it, man. They're not expensive. So that's an insane value right there for a modern polymer handgun chambered in 45 auto. Let's just see, let's fire this one up a little bit and see how this one shoots. Put a couple rounds in here. And, another example, usually they are a generation or two behind by the time they're surplus. So you might not get the most modern, but they're absolutely serviceable and reliable and good values, man. So see, no issues, great condition. As long as something like that doesn't bother you, for $300, man, pick one of those up. Look around, pick some of that stuff up. Let's go with the next one. The Sig Sauer P229 in 357 Sig. Again, this one does not have any department designations on it, initials, logos. You could tell it had a light on it at one time, because you could see the finish right there where it had like a light. It's got light holster wear, a few scratches. I think the night sights are burned out. That's a couple of, the things you might encounter. Let me get some of this ammo over here, move some of this stuff. That's some of the things you might encounter with, those are the most common things you will encounter with police trade-in firearms. Again, I'll reiterate, is finish issues. A lot of times I have been told by law enforcement officers that a lot of times police officers don't have the time or the money to train outside of, unless you're a real shooter and you're into it, outside of their qualification time. They'll usually try to practice right before qual time and stuff like that, because a lot of agencies, they have told me, don't give them, they might give you 2 boxes of ammo to practice, 100 rounds, and so you have to spend your own money, and a lot of people won't spend their own money. And they've also told me that a lot of law enforcement officers are buried in paperwork, so they spend their time doing, that's not that they want to, but they spend their time doing more paperwork than they do being able to get out to the range and shoot. So there's all those issues. So the guns typically don't get fired a lot. They don't get worn out mechanically from being fired a bunch. But they will get bumped against the car. They will get holster wear and all that other kind of stuff. So let's just shoot the 229 and see how this sucker shoots. Shoots great. Again, I found out that most police trade-ins are really reliable, accurate, you know, no complaints, man. So the last one I brought out today, and we'll close out this video, is another M&P. Oh, I forgot to say, I want to say I paid around $4 for that Sig. And it was nowadays probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe something like that. So you got to keep an eye out for all these. There's distributors out there that deal mostly in police trade-ins and military surplus, and you will find a lot of deals out there, man. So I think it was around $4 for this one. This one though, this is another M&P. This is in 40, and I don't know. This doesn't have any really identifiable markings on it of what department it came from. The serial number is DW. I don't know if, you know, that has anything to do with the agency, but again, in pretty good shape. We got a little bit of corrosion or holster wear and stuff there, a little bit on the slide up here, but not a lot. You know, the grip is kind of getting worn down and shiny along with the mag button, which kind of indicates that it rode a lot in the holster. But this one is a little bit different than some of the other ones. This one has, I'm going to show you. Look, it won't fire. It has a magazine safety. So that's something you got to be aware of. When I bought this, it did not say that it had a magazine safety in it. It just said police trade-in Smith & Wesson M&P 40s. And these were an insane price of, I want to say, around $219. So for that, you know, when it came and I noticed it had the magazine safety, I don't really care. I know there's a way I can disengage it, but, you know, disconnect it, get rid of it, or delete it, whatever you want to call it. But I really don't care. Came with one 15-round magazine. You can buy surplus mags pretty dang cheap for these guns. Let's just shoot a couple rounds out of this bad boy. Haven't fired this a lot, but I have fired it, and it's been reliable so far. No issues with it. We'll just bust off a couple rounds. But yeah, there's another example. You know, some of the police trade-ins, pay attention. They might say has magazine disconnect safety, might not. You know, that kind of jazz. But again, no, this one's got white 3-dot sights. But again, pretty darn good condition. And for the price, it was an insane value. Again, works pretty darn well. Have had no issues with it. And so guys, these are just some of the examples of what you can pick up for varying degrees of condition, prices, you know, scarcity, rarity, styles, all kinds of stuff. And police trade-ins. Check out police trade-ins. A lot of times you can get very good firearms for a really good value. So I spent enough time talking. This video's gone a lot longer than I would have liked. But there it is, guys. Let me know what you think about police trade-in handguns, but firearms in general. Do you own any? Do you think they make a good value? What's been your experience with them? So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.